Winston Smith sat hunched over a small desk, writing in a diary. He knew that what he was doing was illegal, that it was an act of rebellion against the oppressive regime of the party. But he couldn't help it. He needed to express himself, to put his thoughts down on paper before they were erased from his mind forever. The year was 1984, and Winston lived in Oceania, a country ruled by the party and its enigmatic leader, Big Brother. In this society, every aspect of life was controlled by the party, from the clothes people wore to the thoughts they were allowed to have. Any deviation from the party's strict rules was met with punishment, often death or imprisonment. Winston was a low-ranking member of the party, working in the records department at the Ministry of Truth. His job was to rewrite history, to erase any evidence that contradicted the party's version of events. He hated his job, but he couldn't do anything about it. He was trapped, like everyone else in Oceania. But Winston had a secret. He was secretly rebelling against the party, in small ways. He refused to believe everything he was told. He questioned the party's authority, and he even began a clandestine affair with a fellow worker, Julia. Julia was everything that Winston was not. She was carefree, rebellious, and didn't care about the party's rules. Together, they would meet in secret, away from the prying eyes of the thought police. They would talk about their dreams of a better life, of a world where they could be free from the party's control. But Winston knew that their relationship was dangerous. If they were caught, they would be punished severely, maybe even killed. And yet, he couldn't stop himself from being with Julia. She was the only person who understood him, who shared his beliefs about the party. One day, Winston received a note from a party member named O'Brien. The note said simply, "I think we should meet." Winston was intrigued. He had always suspected that there was a secret organization working to overthrow the party, and he believed that O'Brien was part of it. Winston met with O'Brien, and was thrilled to learn that he was right. O'Brien was a member of the Brotherhood, the secret organization dedicated to overthrowing the party. O'Brien gave Winston a book to read, written by the Brotherhood's leader, Emmanuel Goldstone. The book was a scathing critique of the party and its methods, and it spoke to Winston on a deep level. But Winston's happiness was short-lived. Soon after his meeting with O'Brien, he and Julia were caught by the thought police. They were taken to the Ministry of Love, where they were tortured and brainwashed until they no longer had any rebellious thoughts or feelings. Winston was eventually released back into society, but he was a broken man. He no longer remembered his past life, his rebellious thoughts or his relationship with Julia. He was now completely obedient to the party, and he no longer questioned its authority. But Winston's troubles were far from over. He was once again contacted by O'Brien, who explained that he had been set up to be caught by the party. O'Brien also revealed the true nature of the party's ideology. It was not interested in power for its own sake, but rather in maintaining power indefinitely, even if it meant sacrificing the happiness and well-being of its citizens. Winston was shocked and horrified by O'Brien's words. He had always known that the party was oppressive, but he had never imagined that it was capable of such evil. And yet, he could not deny the truth of O'Brien's words. He had seen firsthand the party's methods of torture and brainwashing, and he knew that they were capable of anything to maintain their grip on power. As the novel comes to a close, Winston is left feeling hopeless and defeated. He knows that there is no way to overthrow the party, and that any attempt to rebel would be met with certain death. He realizes that the party's control over his mind is complete, and that he will never be able to escape its influence. The novel ends with Winston sitting in a cafe, watching the telescreen and mindlessly reciting party slogans: "War is peace, freedom is slavery, and ignorance is strength." He realizes that he has become everything he once hated, that he has become a loyal servant of the party. And yet, deep down, he still longs for freedom and rebellion. He knows that he will never be able to achieve it, but he can't help dreaming of a world where he is free from the party's control. At its core, 1984 is a novel about the power of ideas, and the way that those ideas can be used to control and manipulate people. It shows how easily people can be convinced to believe in things that are not true, and how difficult it can be to break free from those beliefs. In many ways, 1984 is a cautionary tale about the dangers of totalitarianism and the importance of freedom and individuality. It serves as a warning about the dangers of allowing a government to have too much control over the lives of its citizens, and it shows how easily a society can become corrupt and oppressive. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to QuickBooks, like and comment below.